before I welcome you to my house.
Are you recording, bro?
Before I welcome you to my house, to make this house a home, I want to welcome you to a 7-day free trial of Patreon. So you can go there and you get content for free for 7 days. And that content could be good or bad. But welcome to my home. And by my home, I mean me, Appa, my co-host / co-founder, Vincent. We dive into the streaming service. We tell you, the listener and the viewer, what is worth and what is not. Now, Vincent, we're here. And the reason I keep doing like that intro and like variations of that intro is because your face is too funny throughout it all.
That's fantastic. That's great. I'm glad you're having a good time.
I mean, if anyone's going to have a good time, it's going to be me. I want to make sure of that. But Vincent, we're here, and it's you know, this might be the final ozploitation August that we do ever.
I mean, after this movie, it might be.
It might be. We're going to see. But we are still in ozploitation August. Say, this could be the last ride. So let's enjoy it. And we are doing 1978's, 79's very own Mad Max.
Also, we did, I think, 3 movies from 1978.
I mean, it's all around this time, isn't it? This was a big boom in Australian cinema.
This when they thought, hey, if we don't exploit, we'll ozploit.
Exactly right. And look, everyone said it. We've said it in the past, like ozploitation is what we need to do and what we need now. But we're going to see if this movie is worth it. We're going to see if they need to bring back Mad Max as a series.
Yeah. If they need to make a movie.
Yeah. Like if they could get a Tom Hardy style like actor in here.
Yeah.
And like a Charlize thereafter and just make a movie.
And like thereafter, he might say his name's Max right at the end.
He might say that
because they can't get Mel Gibson.
They can't get Mad Mel because like he's done xenophobia, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna touch on some facts, then we'll get into this. So this has got a 6.8 out of 10 on the IMDb. It's got 91% on the Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a 4.6 out of 5 on Amazon.
All right, Letterboxd.
Hasn't got a letterbox on here, but I could search that up.
No.
Because like 84% of people like this film. It has a budget, or it had a budget of $350,000 and made $100 million US.
That's wild that this had such a lower budget than all the other movies that we've.
It is pretty
covered.
wild. So given that there's like a lot of stunt sequences and explosions and cars that are wrecked. Like cars cost money. I don't know about you, but like, you know.
But I mean, there's not that many cars that get wrecked.
There's maybe 2 or 3 cars that get wrecked.
Yeah, and there was a truck, a caravan. That caravan got pieced up.
There was definitely motorbikes that got pieced up.
Yeah.
There was a couple of dogs in here. None of them got pieced up, but like that's you know, you got to pay. It
still baffles me how much it costs for those other movies because they look like something that, you know, if we really put our minds to it, we could make something of the same effect now
with stuff we have at home.
That's right.
Exactly. But here's the thing: you got to exploit someone.
You got to exploit someone. That's right. And the execs were getting that money. I'm sure
they were getting.
Someone was getting that money.
Someone was getting that money, and you know, I'm happy that they've done it. But I'm going to give you a bit of a synopsis. Then we'll jump right into it. Max, a highway patrolman, vanquishes a gangster in a heated battle. However, his underlings, and that's the gangster's underlings, which is not really what happens, but decide to seek revenge for the death of the former leader. See, that's not the synopsis.
This is not the movie I thought it was. I feel like I've watched the wrong movie.
As in, based off this synopsis?
Based off this synopsis, based off what I thought Mad Max was, based off the movie that I watched and the ratings that it's just got.
So what we're going to do is we're going to get into a couple things here. We're going to get into the fact that you watched the wrong movie.
Yeah.
You might have been out here watching Mad Max 7.
I watched Mad Max. I mean, there were burritos, there was tequila, there were sombreros.
I mean, look, that's a way that we can, you know, maybe we can do Mozploit and we do like Mexican ozploitation films.
That sounds like, you know, you go to the river and you just get bitten by mosquitoes.
And they'll exploit you for your blood.
They'll exploit you.
We're going to talk about, I'm going to cut this movie into 2 halves because I think one half of this film is terrific and one half of this film could like take a walk like on a busy highway. You know what I'm saying? With Max behind the wheel. But we're going to get into that. We're going to get into where this movie is compared to the 2016 or whatever.
2015, I think.
Yeah, the
one that they might make with the Tom Hardy type.
Yeah, with Tom Hardy type and the Charlize thereafter. Because they're very different and to see like, you know, the humble beginnings to now is pretty great. And I have some comments on that. And then finally, we're just going to get into the fact that like, how did Mel Gibson make a career out of this movie?
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking actors, I would have told you that's not an actor.
Like, he's not a bad looking dude, but he ain't acting.
He ain't acting.
But we'll get into that. So I want to get into the start of this movie, and I'm going to call the start of this movie up until Goose, who is another patrolman, dies. That's the start of this movie. Then everything else is the end. When this movie started off, and it starts in a car chase, and starts in quite a good car chase scene with just random shenanigans going on. There's babies running on the road. There's caravans, as Vincent said, coming onto the road. There's crashes. There's
best
people
part
screaming.
of that caravan crash was he drove straight through the caravan and there were just lettuces on the front of his car.
Well, I mean, you know, if you're going caravan and you want some fruit and veg.
But I mean, they just had lettuces, it looked like.
I mean, they might be in the import-export lettuce business.
They might be. I mean, you'd hope they'd be exporting that.
So I should say as well, just to add to the synopsis, this movie is set somewhere near in the future.
Yeah, so what does it say a few years from now?
A few years from now.
See, this was, I mean, you can keep talking and that's fine because it's a podcast where we, not I. But this movie I thought was going to be, hey, it's Mad Max. This is Mad Max before, or this is Max. And then, you know, things happen, the water's gone, he's mad.
Right.
Because he's dehydrated.
You thought it was going to get into the dystopian futures that we've seen.
That's what I thought. Because I knew nothing about Mad Max apart from watching the 2015 movie with the Tom Hardy type that they may or may not make.
Yeah. And they're there on thereafter.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was thinking, okay, we've got this is the beginnings. This is the humble beginnings. He's a highway patrolman. There ain't no water now.
Yeah. So it starts off like they're doing car things, then there's no water.
Yeah, but this movie, I mean, it just seemed like, hey, if everyone takes acid collectively at the same time, let's see what happens.
Well, the thing is, they don't give you any reason as to why, like, the only policeman, a patrolman on the...
There's no reason as to why any of this happens, why any of this is actually... This is like, hey, you've been dropped in an alternate universe. This is what it feels like.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing because I don't think they need to be like, everyone, in 2022, everyone took acid collectively.
No, I know, but
there was that time when people were like, one half of the world is going to jump at the same time as the other half of the world. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the thing that actually happened. You know, Hands Across America, all these things have happened in the past where people do things collectively. Like, who knows that in 2026, when acid becomes illegal in every state in Australia and America,
everyone will do it at the exact same time
and see what happens. Like, you'll see something.
And Albanese won't get the memo, and he'll be sitting there and be like, "What the hell?"
And Albanese will pull out the Prime Mysterio shotgun and just start wailing on folks.
And then he'll be sitting there at his office. He'll look out his window, and then he'll say, "They did say it wasn't going to be easy." And it fades to black. And there's Australia. That's it. That's the end of Australia.
That's how Mad Max.
That's how Mad Max
starts.
Yeah. And then there's the dude in road letters.
So the world is not very different, but it's different in the fact that there's gangs roaming, there's patrolmen trying to take down these gangs, but everything else seems pretty.
There's not gangs roaming.
I mean, there was one gang.
There's one gang.
But like, I mean, how many gangs can you have in a 1 hour and 30-minute movie?
I mean, you've got $350K budget. You only got one gang.
You only got one gang, and like, there's at least like 10 people in that gang. So it is essentially a cat and mouse thing with these two people for the start. But yeah, sorry. Let me just we've sort of given them the world at this point. That's what I was trying to do. Just tell them that the world is a bit different from ours, but it's not anything like the new Mad Max. Which the reason that I liked it was, one, I wasn't expecting it either.
Yeah.
I came into this thinking it was going to be like dystopian. You know, we're going to be out in the desert. They're going to be looking for water. Max is going to be mad about something. But the fact
they're
that
going to be putting their canteens upside down, there's just going to be one drop,
and they're going to put their tongue out and the drop, and it goes like as it touches their tongue.
Yeah.
You know, that's for effect though.
That's for effect.
It's not actually like that hot of water. But what I like about this is that it shows some of the awesome like landscape of country Australia, which you'll still see today.
It is nice. You just got a road and there's just fields.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And you have like one bitumen road or cement road, and then there'll just be all these offshoots of like
dirt
roads, and that's still to this day the beauty of Australian countryside.
And if you go down the wrong turn, you'll go down a dirt road and you'll go, where am I?
Because you'll keep going.
You keep going, and that's happened to me. And I ended up back in the same. I ended up in a town it was not even that far out of Adelaide.
Yeah,
it was in the hills. And I thought, oh, okay, let's go this way. I'm sure this will be able to, it looked on the map, hey, this will be able to get me through to where I wanted to go. The road looks windy, which was I was going for a drive. So I thought, I'd go for a nice drive. I ended up on dirt roads. I ended up just turning left, turning right, and I ended up in the same town that I left from.
And that's how you get stuck in the yabba.
And now I'm thinking about that. I was like, mate, lucky I found my way out, because otherwise then I would have still been there.
Like, lucky you didn't have a rifle in your car, because that would have been the only exit at that point.
Jeez.
And we're all stuck in the yabba at least one point in our life. But that was one of the things that I actually enjoyed, because I was thinking, I'm going to come in here. I do like the dystopian nature of the other Mad Max movies. Now,
it's
I'm not
very
sure,
unique.
As in the dystopian.
That one, because there's been a lot of dystopian, but it's very unique in that it has hey, everything's weird, cult, gang kind of situation, and there's no water.
Right, you're saying that
it's a unique, the world that I was expecting, yeah.
And I like the fact that because that is unique, but nowadays when we talk about dystopian things, it's always a desert somewhere and someone's walking through it and there's people wearing rags, right? You even look at the Justice League movie when they go into the dystopian future. Like you could film Mad Max in the same set that they did that movie.
Yeah, because it's always nuclear holocaust.
It's always something like that.
That's the dystopia.
So to see an environment in which it was just like, hey, these are country towns. Like there's a biker gang roaming through it, and they're beating up cars. Like, I thought that was really fantastic, and that gave me a good vibe for the first half of this movie.
See, I'm going to agree with you in that this was not what I expected, but I was pleasantly surprised. And I don't know if it was to that point where Goose well, he doesn't die, but he
just gets burnt to a crisp.
He just gets burnt to a crisp. But it was, at some point there was, hey, this is really cool. I like that it's kind of real in, a reality that I can recognize, because, they just got regular things, but everything's just a bit wild. But at one point it just turned into, this is just insane. There's just no reasoning for anything. And I know that, there doesn't have to be a reason, but I felt like for the movie to actually be enjoyable for me, I had to go, okay, I understand these people are nuts. They've got some sort of agenda. They've got some sort of reason for what they're doing. Right. But they're just out here chopping down ladies and kids, and that's the movie.
Well, we'll get into the reason as to why they chop down ladies and kids.
I know that is the reason is because, Mad Max, he didn't even...
He tried to arrest the
Knight Rider,
one of the members,
the Knight Rider.
Oh, he did kill Knight.
Well, he didn't kill him.
Knight Rider killed himself. Is that
Knight Rider? Mad Max just. Okay, so this is a hilarious part of the movie.
It's the first part of the movie.
First part of the movie. Yeah. The first part is a car chase. There's the Knight Rider. He's got an individual in the passenger seat. They're laughing maniacally, which is wild.
And talking to the patrolman saying like, "You'll never catch us."
That's right, which is also hilarious.
Like, la 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 la.
Because they got comms on.
They got comms.
They got comms, and he's going, "Yeah, you can't catch us." And there's two patrol cars, and they can't catch him, and they keep crashing. And then Max is there. He I don't know.
He dons his gloves.
He chalks up his hands. He gets the pool cue. He gets in his Mad Max car, and he chases him.
Yeah.
And as soon as this Knight Rider sees Mad Max, he's like, hey, he's right next to me. He just starts crying.
Well, the reason, and I think this is actually good, this part. The reason that the man starts crying is because Max and the Knight Rider play a game of chicken in which they drive at each other, just full pelt, at each other. And at the last second, the Knight Rider turns away and says like, okay, I finally found someone that is as crazy as I am.
Yeah.
He will kill me. And I've realized this now that I the other guys, I could get past them, but this dude I'm not getting past.
Okay, so that's absolutely fair enough. But then he was just behind, Mad Max was just behind him. He wasn't even ramming off the road.
He was just grinding on him
He was just grinding on him. He was just at the club. He was grinding on him. The dude just, I don't know, there was a crash truck, which was also hilarious because they know cars on that road.
Yeah, that's right.
And the truck is just tipped over. And he's not looking, and he crashes into the truck and he explodes.
The thing about, grinding on a man, or a man named Max grinding on me, I'd be crying too. Like if I was at the club and just a man named Max grinded on me,
but would
I'd be crying.
Would you run headfirst into a truck that would then explode?
If I wasn't looking, if I was like looking back and then I look forward and my eyes like popped out of my head.
Did
you see that?
That was hilarious.
Because that happened twice.
That happened at the end as well. So that was funny.
That's iconic. So just as
they did
as
that in the what's it called one as well, in the 2015 one with the Tom Hardy type that they may or may not make.
I mean, they might have done it, especially if like Charlize Thereafter was in it. When Knight Rider is about to crash into this truck, that's sort of doing like repair works on the middle of the road. He realizes that there's a truck in front of him, and he looks, and his eyes like pop out of his head as if like I'm so shocked that my eyes have popped out of my head because I'm about to die, and then he does die, and just like bursts into a bowl of flames.
Yeah,
which I thought this opening scene. No, it was fantastic.
It really did set the tone for the movie.
Especially I think the best part of this movie is you could have called this Mad Goose, because there's another character. So Mad Max's one of his fellow patrolmen is named Goose, and Goose is out there on a motorbike, like doing motorbike police things. And just from the start, Goose has just this fun vibe about him.
Yeah.
Even when the fact like he gets thrown off the road, breaks his leg.
He's there on a motorbike with his broken leg in a cast above the handlebars.
Yeah.
And still riding the motorbike.
Well, that's right. The best bit is this Goose guy, when all this stuff is going on, he's in a diner like eating donuts and coffee because that's what police officers do.
Yeah.
And then dude runs out of there. He's jumping over cars to get to his bike. He throws his donut away, drives off. Dude has a vibe from the start. Jesus.
Goose. That was one of the most hilarious scenes because there was noises, and then he was going, I got a job to do, because he was eating donuts.
Yeah.
And he just does the cleanest slide on the top on the hood of a car, and then does like a flip, throws the donut out, gets on his bike, and just floors it.
Floors it, dude.
And that was the smoothest sequence of this movie.
And when I saw that, I was like, because at this point you're only seeing Mel Gibson's character just he's gearing up.
Yeah, you don't actually see him. It's a Jaws situation.
Yeah, he's doing like, you see his hands fixing up the car. He's washing his hands. He's putting on his gloves. He's doing pool cue and everything, right? But Goose just gets right into it. And from the start, I was like, dude, this Goose character, I can't. And if you're a Goose character in a movie, like, you'll die. Unfortunately, that's just what.
Well, because it's not like Duck Duck Max.
That's right. The dude they're going to choose is Goose.
Also, I was about to say, this dude's looking back, Knight Rider, just to cut back to the last thing. He was looking back to Max. Yes. There's mirrors on his car.
There is mirrors on his car, but like, if you want a man to drive into a truck and then his eyes pop out of his head, you're going to have him like looking back, like craning neck.
But I mean, also, you laughing maniacally, you're not thinking about the mirrors.
No. And if you're crying maniacally after that.
That's right. Because, I mean, things in mirrors will appear closer than they are, or whatever.
Whatever happens, and then the truck hits you. And like they don't say, if you read the fine print on the side mirror, it says that.
Yeah.
Like things are closer than they appear, and a truck will hit you, parentheses.
Yeah.
So this Goose character just continues to be the best character of this movie until the point that he dies. Goose, as Vincent said, later after this accident happened, Goose rocks up to work with a cast on, driving his motorbike still, with his shirt off, right?
With his shirt off, that's right.
Gets thrown an apple, starts eating an apple on his bike. And Max is just this basic, bland, like Wonder White bread character.
Absolute Wonder White bread.
And even after the point where he becomes mad because, he's seen Goose die or seen Goose get burned to a crisp, and then later his family dies, he doesn't change. He doesn't become a better character. And I guess we'll talk about this when we talk about like Mel Gibson as an actor in this movie.
Yeah.
But his demeanor and just the way that he approaches this movie is just the same throughout. He looks a little bit less gruff initially. He looks like a clean, sort of dude, and then later he's got like more of a scowl like look, you know.
He looks like the director told him, hey, Mel, just like pretend you're not acting.
Okay.
Like just pretend you don't want to be here. Just say the lines as if you were reading them straight off the sheet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they killed my wife.
Oh my God, and my baby's there as well. Look at that shoe.
Yeah. That was funny. The baby was just there when it was convenient.
I mean, that baby was neglected.
Absolutely. They just chucked it in the back of the van.
So Max has a wife, and they live on this killer property. Like, you know,
absolutely.
It's right on the
Beachfront.
beachfront. You know, there's the shrubs around, like the scrub around. You're walking through it. You get to the beach. You got a like a chair right there for you on the beach. Right, beautiful stuff. There's many parts in this movie. Well, there's one part in this movie in which Max is down at the beach because he can't sleep, and then his wife goes down to the beach and leaves their baby in the house by itself. And I mean, it's the 70s, and like you know, if it's unless the lights are, you know, when the lights switch on outside, that's when your kids come home. But like
there was
with a baby, you can't neglect
there was a
it.
period of this movie where the baby you were shown the baby at the start, then they go on some cross country road trip.
Yeah.
And the baby's not there for pretty much the whole time until, the baby's kidnapped.
The baby, yeah. And,
You never see them until...
and the worst part is the baby is just in the back of like a Sandman style car.
Yeah.
Like a shaggin' wagon. Not strapped in. Like just in the back of the shaggin' wagon.
Yeah.
Like back, like wagon, right? So it's just when it breaks, like the baby's going forward.
When it breaks, the baby breaks.
Dude. So that baby was neglected. So like, you know, whatever was going to happen to that baby was going to happen to that baby, unfortunately, because like they weren't doing good parenting.
Oh, jeez.
But I mean, you know, a couple of years in the future, who knows if we have like good parenting tactics? You know what I mean?
Right. When at the start of the movie, it wasn't the same. It looked like the same baby, but one of the babies, some kid walked on the road.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, the other highway patrolmen were great characters as well. The two that you started off with,
The ones that are looking at the people having sex.
yeah.
With a like a sniper scope.
And imagine you actually shooting them.
Accidentally?
Yeah.
Like you get too excited.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's right. You got too excited watching.
The other highway patrolmen.
Those two were quality because one of them's driving, the other one decides, hey, no, I want to drive. Doesn't let him.
Yes.
That dude crashes. They swap drivers, crash into the caravan. Then he crashes into a pole, almost clean knocks this baby's head off.
Yeah.
At the start of the movie.
Yeah.
And the dude next to him, like his partner's talking to him, going, like, "Are we? You know, I think we should just stop." Pretty much, and he goes, "Like, no, we're going on. Like, people's lives are in peril. Like, we got to go on."
And their car's like busted up.
Their car's busted. You're looking at the back, and you've just absolutely pieced up this lettuce and almost this child.
Yeah. And then later, one of them like slits his throat.
Yeah,
And then
he
has to
turns
speak.
into. See, I want to see them too.
But that's the thing, and that's what this movie does really well. Is makes every other character other than Max and his family,
even the
good characters.
even the mechanic. I want to see more of the mechanic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The whole highway patrol space.
The thing is, the world that they've created is really interesting. I feel like the story was pretty subpar.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, sometimes that's fine because obviously they made more movies and hopefully the other ones are good.
I mean, they just got on the road, and I think that's what this movie's all about, is just getting into it right away. And I think the villains in this movie are fun. So there's a biker gang who are just filled with just crazy people. There's one member of the biker gang who is just always on a roof. Like he's just always climbed up somewhere, and that's where he sort of makes his entrance to the scene. The leader of the biker gang, who's called something Toe Cutter, who's called Toe Cutter. He is actually the main bad dude in the new Mad Max, potentially the one that stars Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron thereafter.
Yeah.
He's the dude that has all the women that he wants to get pregnant.
He's the one that has the
mask.
Yeah, I thought he looked like, because similar hair.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That's cool.
It is very cool that, you know, we've gone full circle and like Charlize Theron thereafter. Like there's a career thereafter for this guy.
Yeah.
But I think that whenever I saw them, and especially when I saw there was a scene with a biker gang on this beach, I was like, this gives me lots of Warriors vibes in the fact that we don't need to know a lot about this gang, but we just need to see their members doing what they do, to just know that whatever they're doing, we're going to enjoy it. Whenever they're on screen, we're going to have fun with it. You don't need to know like the backstory of, the Warriors were formed in the early 60s due to, a fire that occurred in a place called the Warrior Bar, right? You don't need to know all of this. All you need to know is that these dudes are crazy. They got a coffin in tow and they want to kill all the patrolmen that killed their friend.
Yeah, see, this is another situation where we're talking about the movie and I'm going, man, this is a great movie. This is fantastic.
Until Goose dies.
Yeah, see, I think maybe that is the point as well. Because I feel like, yeah, I could understand what was happening. I could go, okay, this is just, I'm not basing this in any reality that I know of. I dropped a couple of tabs of acid and I go, okay, I can understand this now.
That's what you have to do.
I did not do that. Anthony Albanese may or may not have. That's alleged. I don't know.
No. Albanese didn't, and that's the reason why he brought out the prime mysterio.
I know, but I'm saying in this scenario,
situation, yeah.
I'm doing another bit.
You do another bit with like Albanese did it.
Albanese did it and no one else did.
Yeah.
And then he's like, mate, this is not easy.
And he's just wearing an acid rap t-shirt.
Chance the Rapper, please bring back those acid rap t-shirts because mine's got holes in it and that's my favorite t-shirt.
But that's also like the vibe.
I know, but I know it's going to deteriorate at some point. And
yeah.
That's just made me sad.
Yeah, man.
Because that's...
You go on with your Albanese point though.
I don't know what I was talking about Albanese, but I could get into the movie from then. I was going, okay, this is cool. But then it was just turned into, this is just people making stupid decisions left, right, and center. I don't understand how this story is getting from A to B to C.
So Max was always on the precipice of quitting. And when Goose dies, he then says, "Look, I'm quitting,"
which is another hilarious scene.
It is because the boss, like the lead patrolman, is wearing a chain. And I'm talking like a chain, like just off a.
Did he have a scarf on as well?
He then had a scarf on top of that, and he was
leather pants,
just shirt off,
bare chested,
big pecs,
small watering can. He's just watering plants.
I mean, this is why, Vincent said he wants to know more about the patrolmen. The patrolmen have more about them, or more to them than any other characters in this movie.
But you think about it, every character of this movie was interesting except for Max.
And the reason for him leaving was essentially the patrolman saying, "Hey, look, you just take a break, and I know you want to come back." But it was the start of it's meant to be the start of his descent into madness. He sees the burnt body of Goose and like it zooms up into his face and he's like, "Goose!" And then he leaves that space, right? Then he goes out doing like, Holiday Road, it's a road trip starring that racist man. And then he further descends into madness by seeing his family die. The thing about his descent into madness is it was just two periods. And I know that, one thing could lead you into madness, but it was just these two distinct points that one of them like didn't really lead him to madness.
But the
just
Goose
led him
one,
to leave.
it meant that, okay, I've got to step back. Like I can't.
It was, but the fact that they did that scene of him going like, "Oh, Goose." He doesn't actually say Goose, but like in my mind he does. That almost looks like it's like this moment here is a moment that is going to be etched into your brain, right? I thought there was going to be several moments later that would help him descend into madness or facilitate the madness. But then there was obviously the part where his family died. But it's just a clear cut, like he's one dude, then he's another dude, but he's the same. He's got the same energy.
He never changes.
He's not really that mad. He just has a scowl on his face after that and goes out and kills people or tries to.
Yeah, I think maybe that is, not knowing that when I was watching the movie, but the movie was frustrating me, and I think it was, now we're speaking about it as friends, colleagues, co-host and co-founder, and I'm thinking it was because Max was a bad character.
Yeah.
And he was just not interesting there was no character development. The world was fantastic. The lawyers that came in to take this other dude who was, they'd brought him into the Hall of Justice, which is also a hilarious place. Because like the Hall of Justice, it looks like it's
just a shed.
It's just a shed.
Yeah.
It's just
a warehouse.
It just looks like an abandoned like asylum that they've now appropriated for whatever they do
justice.
there, because everything looks like it's just decrepit.
Yeah.
But the lawyer comes in and he's got these huge glasses on. He's got slick back hair, and he was like, the law will have. And he's got this hilarious voice.
He's got a very 1970s like smart Australian voice.
Yeah, but every other person in this movie is good except for.
And I think
Max.
one thing that they've done really well in the potential movie with Tom Hardy and others is that the best character is not Max. Max is a good character, but the world around him is fantastic, and maybe that's what makes him mad.
In the new one,
in the new ones, and maybe it's in the second and third one as well.
Maybe,
but
see, in the last one, or in the one that may or may not have a Tom Hardy type in there, that one there, I think he's still an interesting character.
He's more interesting.
That's right, because you don't know about him, and he's helping these people, and he's just.
He's also a lot more mad in that one.
He is,
given
also
that he's dehydrated most of the time.
That's right.
Yeah,
but he also does wilder things, and he's a more interesting character. This Max is just
Max. That's his dialogue in that movie.
But see, that's
I might
quality.
go watch that movie tonight because that's a good movie, dude.
Because all my favorite video games, the protagonists just don't say nothing.
Should we just quickly get into the reviews of this? As in our reviews.
Our reviews.
Yeah. Give it a rate.
Why are you're throwing your hands away? That's yeah, so what did I think of this movie? I don't know. I've enjoyed this. I enjoyed the world. Like I said, I enjoyed the world and I thought it was interesting. I think so obviously the gang does wild things because they're a gang and this is the world that they're in. Everyone's on acid. And while I was watching it, I was going, okay, why are they doing all this stuff? It just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I don't know why you just fixing up your tie.
Go on. Go on, man. I'm just having fun. All right, it's
a serious podcast. Next time, you won't be welcome to my house. All right. But I think the core reason is because Max was just a terrible character, and I just had no interest in him at all.
Yeah. Look, if I could put these movies, give me a rating though.
Okay, so I rate this a 4 or a 5. I because when I was watching it, I was frustrated.
Now that means it's worse than the movie you watched last week.
Yeah,
The Long Weekend.
The Long Weekend.
Okay,
because that was also just that was wild.
The Long Weekend was wild,
and it was just funny because it was. I don't know. I think that I was less frustrated watching that than this one.
Yeah.
This one here, Mad Max, titular, was just frustrating to watch because they had this world and all these people doing wild things, and Max was there and he just didn't change, but the world was wild.
He's just lukewarm Max.
He's just lukewarm Max.
I'm going to say that there's two parts of this movie, and I'm going to give them both ratings. There's pre-Goose and there's post-Goose, right? So they're both PG. But one's PG-13, I guess, because he dies. The pre-Goose, I'm going to give that a 7 because I had a lot of fun with Goose in this movie.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm going to give it a flat. I'm going to give it actually 7.5. And after that, I'm going to give it a flat 6. I think that the biker gang still hold it up enough. I think that there's scenes in this that they're driving through coastal. They're in little beach towns and things. I just loved seeing that. And that's why I love that this movie wasn't as dystopian, is because we just got to see a big BP silo.
Nice,
you know what I mean? There's all these really cool old school country aesthetic things that I just like to see in the background. Look, obviously they made a lot of.
I want to watch the next one. Next week we're watching the next one.
They made a lot of money in this movie, but I guess the most mind blowing thing of it all
is that if you don't use DuckDuckGo, you're a duck duck goose.